the Brown boys, the Brown boys, the Brown boys, we the Brown boys, the Brown boys, we the Brown boys. But this Stephen A. Smith and Roland Martin thing, I'm gonna play it off Street Media TV. If it let me. I don't think it's gonna let me.
And separating from each other, you have breakdowns on the radical left. Us found
nothing to do with politics. It got everything to do with the fact that when everybody else had turned their back on me, that war. And like, no, that's my man. He ain't that person. What you talking about? Talk about the industry. You understand? Now, you in my life, I got love for you, we tight. And you gonna say like I betrayed the black community? They talking about me with this politics. I can show you a speech that I gave in 2007, right before Obama took office. In 2010, at Vanderbilt University, I said, listen to this quote, politics. I wish for one election that every black person would vote Republican. What? How can you say that? I said, it's simple. Since 1964, the black folks, we have been giving our vote to the Democratic Party at an exorbitant rate. Therefore, they know they got our vote, and they don't have to cater to us as much as we need them to. The Republicans know they'll never get our vote, so they don't give a damn about us. And as a result, we're the only community in America devoid of representation, which is why we're considered disenfranchised. I'm tired of that. What I want is to put ourselves as a community in a position where both parties have to work to get our vote.
Can I ask you this? Do you think you covering politics like you cover politics, in the words of your mans, is that good for business, your business?
It has the...
And this is Cam putting the beacon out to him. Hey, the way you cover politics, meaning that you're not lockstep with the Democrats. So the way you cover politics, because everybody should cover politics. Politics run the world. Even in the streets, what they tell you, nigga, we over here politicking. You're part of the gang, it's politics in the gang. You a part of America, there's politics in America. So to say that you don't do politics, what the hell are you doing? Like, I don't understand it. It just don't make no sense. You niggas politics in the streets. You don't think you supposed to politic in the real world?
The potential not to be. We'll have to see. So far it is. I think I'm doing pretty good. So far it is, but it has the potential not to be. But here's the point. Cam, if I thought like that, I'd never be here. There's plenty of decisions over the years I could have made that would have been good for business. But I had the courage to tackle the issues that I felt passionate enough to attack. That's what makes me me.
No, I like where you at. Because similar to you covering politics, it's almost similar for what does an athlete have the credentials to speak about other sports? For the record, why are you even speaking about politics? Like what goes into the thought of like why from all your shows are your platforms, you have a show that's dedicated to politics?
Okay. So before I answer that question, let me close what I was saying by saying this. I said that not to discourage people to vote for Democrats or anything like that. What I'm saying is, if Cam wanted to buy this property, do you walk in, I'll give it to you, how much you want? Or do you investigate and find different spots and compare prices and see what better deal you're gonna get? Same thing if you're buying a car, same thing if you're buying a house. You're saying flatter me. Flatter me. What I'm saying, I said it back then, flatter us. Stop thinking that you get to assume that you have to earn our vote. That's it. That's all I'm saying. And that's what I stand on to this very day.
So the battle was on. And now, because of the statement that Stephen A. Snitch made on Cam Newton's show, Roly-Poly feels as though he has to come out and respond. He has to get out in front of that because they feel like there's an arms race, right, for seats. And he can't have somebody with a platform like Stephen A. Snitch speaking out against the Democrats. He can't do that. So now he responds and he comes back, right, with venom. He comes back saying this.
At what they are doing. So here's a perfect example. So I saw this a video of Stephen A. Smith on Cam Newton's podcast. And Stephen A. said something that I thought was interesting. Y'all go ahead and roll.
I wish for one election that every black person would vote Republican. What? How can you say that? I said, it's simple. Since 1964, the black folks, we have been giving our vote to the Democratic Party at an exorbitant rate. Therefore, they know they got our vote, and they don't have to cater to.
Now, I tried to warn Stephen A. though that he has a large platform and his mouth has been controlled for this long that he got to be careful getting into things like this because they try to make a punishment for you, which I don't know why. I don't know what he said that was so bad. I just don't. Like, I don't really like Stephen A. I don't. But I can separate my disdain for Stephen A. For this particular talking point because I think it's borrowed anyway. Or maybe he came up with this as he matured, but Stephen A. is the same guy who talked blackety black this whole time. I don't know what made him change up, but I mean, I remember the old Stephen A. and I think a lot of other people remember the old Stephen A. The guy who only disrespect black athletes, the guy who always talk up for white athletes, the guy who always talk about race, but now he's trying to sound like he's this strong brother that don't care about race. But we're going to disprove that in a second.
Us as much as we need them to. The Republicans know they'll never get our vote, so they don't give a damn about us. And as a result, we're the only community in America devoid of representation, which is why we're considered disenfranchised. I'm tired of that. What I want is to put ourselves as a community in a position where both parties have to work to get our vote.
Can I ask you this?
Okay. All right.
Do you think you
Come to me. All right. So I text Stephen A. early about that, and I'd sent him some information. And I got no problem saying it. Here's why he's wrong. Because what he just said, we've always.
Here's why he's wrong. There you go. There you go. He's wrong for saying, let's make them work on our vote. What is he wrong about? This is the most educated dude that don't break things down that people say. I never seen a person that take a conversation, say that you're wrong, don't take your talking points, talk about what you're saying that's wrong, and break all of it down. He'll stick to one thing that you say and go back in time like a time traveler and talk about history. Watch what he does with this. He don't mention not one time what Stephen A. meant about, hey, we should all vote Republican one time as a good faith gesture. Like, hey, we in this bitch. Like, we'll vote for you too. Like, what's up? And that'll shift the balance to let people know we serious. He ain't gonna talk about that.
He's done that. Always. Black people.
Let me pause that because again, this is the 52 fake out flim flam. What he did was, and I'm not a fan of Stephen A. Snitch, but he's using foundational Black American talking points. He's been listening to us, right? He said after 64, he's going to go into the historical stuff, which I'm going to break down because we get in the classroom. And Roland, you cannot, Roland. A lot of us are educated. We're not stupid, Roland. Stop running this game. Well, let's listen.
People were hardcore Republican voters after the Emancipation Proclamation and the end of the Civil War. Black people were hardcore Republicans from the 1800s through 1964. Y'all, these are facts. Okay.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. Watch this. That's not true. Now there was a shift. There was a shift after the New Deal, right? Black Americans shifted from the Republican Party to the Democratic Party in the 1930s due to the New Deal economic relief during the Great Depression. While historically the party of Lincoln, many Black voters felt abandoned by GOP, right? After 1877 and some of the things that they promised they didn't, right? They felt abandoned by the GOP and found tangible support, from FDR's programs, with 75% supporting him by 1936. The Great Migration to northern cities in dire economic conditions of the Depression drove Black voters towards Roosevelt. Despite the 1930 shift, Black vote, right? So you still have Black voters, some of them still remaining loyal on a state level, right? But the majority in 75% clip supported FDR. So let's proceed back. I just. Like, because I don't like this. I don't like this dude, man.
Okay. Now, understand, when you look at, matter of fact, Ted Cruz, if y'all want to laugh, Ted Cruz actually posted this stupid ass tweet where he tried to ask Grok was it true? This of what he read, and it said the first 20 it was something like the first 23 black members of Congress were Republican. And he goes, Grok, is this true? And I was like, dumbass, you didn't pay any attention in history class? We all know that was true. Black people were riding with Republicans because radical Republicans pushed through the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. It was Southern Democrats who were fighting Republicans. Now, when the Great Compromise of 1877 happened, guess what? Republicans sold black people out. Black Republicans called out Republicans by saying, y'all sold us out. Y'all left us out to pasture. Congressman White gives his Great Phoenix speech. He was the last African-American who was in Congress from North Carolina, and he gave that great speech on the floor of the House. Now, guess what? Herbert Hoover was a Republican president. Herbert Hoover was the leader of the Lily White Party. Herbert Hoover, black people still voted for Herbert Hoover because Democrats were worse. What happens in 1948? You now begin to see Democrats nationally begin to embrace. They put civil rights in their plank. Of course, Senator Hubert Humphrey gives a passionate speech on the floor. He was fighting Southern Democrats. Now you begin to see the crack. Democrats go, okay, all right, because black people were saying, well, Republicans ain't really riding with us. So you go to 52, 56, then you get
slow down. What?
to 60. Jackie Robinson.
Slow down. See, he went Herbert Hoover, but let's go over to Eisenhower, right? So Black Americans showed modest temporary shift towards Republican Party during the 50s, right? He did during Eisenhower, driven by his personal popularity and dissatisfaction with Democratic alternatives, rather than a full realignment. While
hold on, let me get past this one part because I want to get it back to Roland Martin. If y'all want to hear that part, y'all can go get it on the brother's page.
Kennedy was sitting here being aggressive with it. Black folks shifted, solidified black support to Stephen A. started in 64 when Senator Barry Goldwater opposed the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Black people said, oh, hell no. Jackie Robinson, black Republican, campaigned against LBJ. Barry Goldwater then votes against the 65 Voting Rights Act, calling it unconstitutional and unnecessary. So the reality is Nixon comes in 68.
But the only reason why they brought that because of what Eisenhower did. He understood that they already studied us and saw the shift. They saw the shift with FDR and the New Deal, right? So whoever was bringing us the tangibles at the time. But he asked with Stephen A. Snitch in the classroom. Well, let's listen to some more.
The Southern strategy appealing to white voters. The Republican Party since 1964 has been anti-black and pro-white. Their entire agenda has been to appeal to white voters. Now, this is very simple. What I would tell Stephen A. is black people ain't dumb. Black people have.
Roland Martin, why wouldn't they appeal to white voters? Like, that don't even make no sense. If black people are ignoring me and they're only voting based on race in their party lines, why in the hell would I even talk to them? I heard that there was an agreement made that when they separated those party lines, that white Republicans would not campaign in black areas, and that black people would not campaign in white areas. It was like an agreement. Once they did the districting, okay, this is your district. We won't even try to go over to your district. So you guys might think it's the Republicans don't like you. It's just that's the agreement that they made. See, the Democrats act like the Democrat Party is the party that love black folks. If that's the case, then you should not have to have these color lines in order for a white person to vote for you. If you are a Democrat and white folks like you, don't they love black people? They should be able to vote for you, no problem. But what they're actually saying is this is the party who freed the slaves. They love us. There was a party switch, but the only way we get elected is that we have our own black people vote for us. How does that make any sense? Didn't white people vote Obama in? Didn't white folks vote Obama in? So how is it that Obama can get a vote? How is it that these black Republicans can go in these white spaces and get a vote, but then the black Democrat can't go in white spaces and get a vote? Maybe that's because you only talking about blackity black. Maybe because that's all because you only talking about shit that they don't want to hear. If they're the party of all inclusive and no racism, then you should not be crying about no redistricting. You should be fine with that because a white Democrat is in your corner, right? Ain't that's the whole purpose of you saying Trump is racist? Those white Democrats are not racist. So if you don't get elected, it's because you're not good enough for the job, right? You can't have it both ways. You can't keep telling me white people in the Democratic Party are so great and they did all these things, but then they won't vote for you. Interesting.
Not given our vote away. Black people have made the decision that white people have not weighed.
He's not answering the question. He said the Democrats since 1940, since the 1964, what have they done? He's not answering the question. That's the part that's disingenuous. Y'all saw that in the beginning of the video. He's being disingenuous.
Black people, I need all y'all people who love saying, yeah, you a shield for the Democratic Party, to listen to this here. Black people have always been smart with our vote. Because you know what we said? We said, okay, who is fighting for
Roland Martin, how the fuck have black people been smart with their vote and we only been voting the same way for 50, 60 years and still complaining about our conditions? How is that smart? To make no one compete for your vote is smart? Okay, we agree to disagree, Roland.
our best interests? From 1865 through 1960, it was Republicans. Black people said, here my agenda.
It wasn't 1865 to 1960 was Republicans. I just showed you that's not true. That's why we shifted at 75% over to FDR doing the New Deal. Why are you lying? Like what? Man, this guy is something else. And now after 64.
You know why he lying? He trying to get them to donate to his media team, just like they did last year. Salute to George Bacon. He trying to get donated to his media team, not to him. He didn't get the money. Plausible deniability. I'll sue you. It went to my media company. Y'all motherfuckers don't even know how deep you in metaverse.
Take a listen to Stephen A. Smith here.
Make no mistake about it. We wouldn't have a border crisis under my watch. Hell no. We wouldn't have this crime that exists in the streets of New York. You wouldn't hear about me saying defund the police. We ain't defunding any police. I'm calling 911 when there's a problem. I know you're calling 911 when there's a problem. I'll be damned if I'm going to have less police officers out there. There's going to be more. That's me. I would focus on a flourishing economy and making sure we did everything we could, because I believe when you have something to lose, you know how to behave. When you have something to lose, you know how to behave. If you have nothing, you have nothing to lose. Nothing to lose. And as a result, you're willing to tear down anything, even if it's America, because you feel betrayed by a country that's supposed to be looking out for you and positioning you to thrive instead of wallow in misery and suffering. So, of course, I would pay attention to the economy. I would pay attention to all of those things.
Did you worry about racism if you ran for president?
No. I know it exists. I know that you can't escape it, but I do not believe it is as prevalent as some on the left would like us to believe. I do.
One thing I don't understand is people put money over their own life. Like, people put money over their own life. They always say if a person don't got nothing to lose because they have money. God didn't give you money. He gave you life. That is one of the most precious things ever. You got something to lose, your fucking soul. What you mean you ain't got nothing to lose? Are you crazy? Everyone has something to lose, and you're supposed to treat your life like you have something to lose. You can lose your life being stupid.
I believe a vast majority of Americans judge you on the content of your individual character rather than the color of your skin. I think a lot of people in America, especially in this day and age, now more so than ever before, it's not about race. It's about the fact that they don't give a damn about it because they got their own problems. That's entirely different than believing they are superior to you. And
Mercy T, good morning. Good morning. How you doing? Stephen A. Smith, I agree with that part. Most white people don't give a damn what's going on now. Is there still some racist white people? Yes, the SPLC paying them. We already know that now. There is still a level of racism because they're getting paid to be racism. And the ones that's already embedded in them, they just getting extra incentive. So the SPLC is buying racist people. Hell, I might want to act racist a little bit just to get me a little change. Don't nobody pay you to be racist against white people. But if anybody out there offer me up money, I'll say fuck Paul right now. Salute to you, Paul. But yeah, there's a level of racism. But at the end of the day, he's right. Most white people don't give a damn. They got their own problems. They trying to keep their boats up. They try to keep that money turned over. They trying to And they trying to be able to speak without getting thrown in jail. Shit. I gotta find that Instagram or that TikTok that I saw. This lady told it like an EI is. I gotta find it.
They want to hold you back from sending. That's not what's going on to the degree that it was decades ago.
So you heard him there, right? Now, some of you who may not know the history of Stephen A. Smith will say to yourself, okay, what's wrong with him saying that there's no, racism play a critical role in the day-to-day affairs in the United States, today. But what's wrong with him saying that? He can't have an opinion? Of course no one is saying that Stephen A. Smith can't have an opinion. Of course not. I'm certainly not saying that. The problem is we have known Stephen A. Smith since the early 2000s. And that Stephen A. Smith seems diametrically opposed to the person we just played here. So what we want to do is we want to play a compilation of videos of Stephen A. Smith complaining about race over the years, just to show you guys that this new Stephen A. Smith is a switch up. Take a listen to this. Take a look at this video here.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's no way around this. This is white privilege. We are still black in this country. We don't trust this country in terms of meritocracy always. We know the bottom line is that just like women are underpaid compared to male counterparts, blacks are underpaid compared to white counterparts. He has no team. They ain't African Americans that have been toiling through the terrain and trying to become executives in the National Basketball Association. Last time I checked, that's the case. We see coaches on the sideline. They don't want to become head coaches. They've been assistants for years. You, as a black man that points out these kind of things, this kind of inequities when they take place, I want to make sure Nathaniel Hackett knows this is nothing against him. He gets the job with the full support of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, who, by the way, never insisted that a black candidate be interviewed and be put front and center so we'll know who that individual is. We got Brad Stevens here. About when we talk about the ease with which dehumanization kicks in when it comes to black men. Mm-hmm. What I can tell you is this. Numerous coaches, black coaches, called me expressing how they took issue with that podcast taking place. They call it Black Friday for, Black Monday rather for a reason. This certainly typifies it. I don't know why it's not called White Monday. Doug Peterson got fired from Jacksonville. He deserved that firing. The one thing that I want to say is that in this nation, on too many occasions, we've lamented black fathers, the absence of black fathers and all of this other stuff. So I find it very, very ironic that when that's not the case with those three men that I mentioned, all of a sudden it's a problem. In other words, y'all won't say it, I'll say it. Yeah. Those in America who think differently, you kiss our ass.
So you saw it there. The video we just played is Stephen A. Smith for the last damn near 20 years. For the last 20 years. Then all of a sudden, he decided that he wanted to become a political pundit. And then now all of a sudden, race is not an issue. Help me figure it out. What happened in the last year and a half or 2 years that made you realize that race wasn't an issue? Seriously. What made you come to that conclusion? And that's what people are talking about. Him saying the black community turned on him. They turned on him because he changed colors. We have been used to this guy spewing one particular kind of rhetoric for 20 years. And then all of a sudden now there's this switch up. That's what people are talking about. They're not just pulling this out of thin air. That's where the issue lies. Now, I'm not going to get too much into the political commentary of it because people have complained. Don't talk politics on this channel. We haven't spoken politics on this channel since last year. And I'm not going to do that. If you want to hear my political views, go over to my channel. Here's what I think. And you can subscribe to it. Charles Tabansi.
That's crazy that you got to separate channels because people will like you 1 minute. I told you it's all about who we like. They'll like you 1 minute, then hate you the next minute. So he has to talk all basketball on one channel, all politics on another channel. And I understand. You got to give the consumers what they want, but damn, that's crazy. Right, wrong, or indifferent. The truth should be the truth.